I run VaynerMedia, I'm the CEO, 800 employees. I work for everybody. I don't have people working for me, I work for everybody. The biggest issue that managers have when they make that leap is they get very fucking confused. They think that people work for them, and they don't understand that they're working for those people. And so when I think about the thank you economy and being documented and what I really want from you, I'm not here to razz the managers. I want everybody who just stood up to get to the place that they want to in their lives and their careers. And I want to suffocate real quick for all of them to leave their fucking fancy POVs at the fucking door. Because what happens as you grow up the ranks of society in life and in business is you have to start deploying humility, not ego. And that has been the most fascinating thing that I've watched through my career, watching that shift become difficult because the way to succeed within an organization that has people working is you have to figure out how to learn to eat shit. And that is super difficult. And the higher up you go, the more shit you have to eat. The amount of shit that I eat every day is so fucking staggering to me. And it is basically the blueprint of my success and every other person that I've seen. Literally your ability to be the bigger man and woman in every situation, even though 9 out of 10 times you may be right, is the variable of your success, both within an organization and compounded when you go out into the real world. And this takes me back to where I started. Please understand the following. Being nice is ROI positive. It is traveling, it is being known, it is leverage. The ability to be not nice, politicking on the defense, always wins up front, which is why people are seduced by it. But it never wins the long game. You're winning the sprint for about 40 seconds, but you never win the marathon of what's being played here. It is now compounded because information about us travels at a level we've never seen before. Being a dick in Portland in 1974 was super fine because you could move to Minnesota. That information now travels with us at scale. You don't even want to know how much of a jerk your great-great-grandfather was. All that stuff is lost in history. All of our baggage, here forever. The biggest thing I remind people when they go on tilt, whether it's politics or life or whatever, is just remember, everything you're saying is going to be there forever. Everybody in this room is going to have a conversation with their granddaughter, and they're gonna have to explain their points of view on everything. Forget politics, life, everything. And so I'm fascinated by this dynamic. I think it's a super interesting time, and I really wanna, not inspire, it's really funny. I think about I don't really get a super high to inspire or make like a fun event. I get a super high on the emails I read on the way out to this flight this morning. The people that were in an audience, the guy who just told me backstage that when he saw me speak 2 years ago, quit his job and went on the offense. I'm in it for one thing, legacy. I'm in it for one person sitting here emailing me in 6 years and saying, I was a little fancy as a manager until you came to Portland. I was a little high on myself and thinking I was special. I was building towards the wrong path that wasn't gonna be historically correct. And I am just fascinated by the fact that the most simple of traits now is the fundamental game we're playing. That it's crazy to me, as we go more Jetsons, the people that know how to play like the Flintstones are gonna win. Literally, I believe the manners that your great-great-grandparents have are far more suited for where we're going than the majority of us. That we don't realize what's actually happening in front of us, which is we are all, not just me all day putting out content. D-Rock, where you at? Not just fucking having a weird dude following you around full time, filming you. Not me, all of you. Maybe mine's an extreme version, but for all of you, you are documenting your entire life at scale forever. And when you start wrapping your head around that, 2 things unfold, I hope, for 95% of you. Number 1, the quality of the life that you're trying to live as a human, so that you're proud about the conversations you have at 60, 70, and 80. And when you get there, a funny thing happens. As you push yourself to be a better fucking human being, better things start happening for you in your actual selfish business wants and needs. And so I hope that I can suffocate and ignite a mindset here today of people actually understanding what they're doing. Think about all the dumb shit you believed 5 years ago that you don't believe anymore. We keep evolving. We keep changing as we grow. I implore you to understand how big the stakes are in the world that you live in right now. The opportunity is so ridiculous. And so let's get into the details before I get into Q&A of this. I am desperate for every person in this room to understand a couple pieces of data. Number one, if you believe that this is the remote control of our society the way I do, then it gets really interesting when you start thinking about social media. Social media is this nice little, in my marketing world, it's a slang term for nice to have that you support with television, things of that nature. Obviously with a lot of young faces, it's norm for you, it's the main communication funnel, but it probably has a balance between business and your real life and what you're doing as a human. I need everybody to understand something. More than 50% of the time spent by all Americans on a cell phone is on a social network. This is pretty much the punchline. Like by the time, how many people here are retiring in 10 years? And I don't mean you're gonna open up a bunch of these and you're gonna fucking crush it and buy an island. I mean you're fucking old and you're finished. How many people retiring in the next 10 years? Great, 0. So for everybody here, please understand the following. Everything that is running our society's attention right now, Facebook and YouTube and Instagram and Snapchat and Twitter, and everything 12 years ago did not exist. The smartphone did not exist. Uber did not exist. Airbnb did not exist. Nothing. If everybody, back to the awesome dude with the fucking horse t-shirt, the reason I wish he could take everybody back is we do not have context to how remarkable, it's tough. The people that lived during the Great Depression, the people that lived during the World Wars, the people that lived during the Industrial Revolution, it's hard because it's our lives. It's hard for us to understand how different it is for us than the prior 2 generations. It's difficult because you have no context to anything else. But the stakes and opportunity are all time. They're all time. Our great-grandkids, everybody else will look back at this era as the moment. And so I implore you to take a step back and really fundamentally ask yourselves a couple questions. One, what legacy are you building? Because it will be the leverage for everything that you want over the next 60 years, and that is based on your actions. And 2, very honestly, are you squeezing the shit out of this moment as much as you can? The thing that I'm super passionate about, as a lot of you know, is I think work ethic is the one thing that's super fucking controllable, right? A lot of us were born with what we were born with, right? You're only so pretty, you're only so smart, you're only so fast, you're only what you are. The one thing that I'm fascinated by as you sit here, the way you were parented, where you were born, what you got, the one thing that actually is in your control is the decisions of what you do with your hand. It's like a great poker player, right? A great poker player doesn't need the best hand every time to win. It's how she or he navigates with that hand. We're not gonna change who we are or where we were born or to whom we were born with. But no matter where you are in the life cycle right now, we all have the opportunity to start looking at it a little different. And to me, very frankly, I just think we spend an enormous amount of time on dumb shit when we have ambition to do so much more. Now look, you do you. I'm not interested in peddling being a workaholic. I'm really not. You can do whatever you want. The happiest friend I know from growing up, I think he makes $50,000 a year. He's on 17 fucking softball teams. He fucking takes every vacation day off, and he's happy as shit. And I love him, and it makes me so damn happy. I have friends who were early employees at Facebook. They have $100 million in the bank, and they're miserable, and it's shit. This is not a money conversation. This is very simply, do your actions back up your mouth? To me, looking at the hashtag, looking at people talking about this, looking at their social media, when I have the whole East Coast to West Coast long flight, I get into a lot of work. I get all my work done, and then I start looking at all of your social media on the way here. And I look at the hashtag, and I see what you said about the earlier speaker, and I do my thing, right? The thing that fascinated me a lot about this conference is you've got a lot of people peacocking in this organization. AKA, a lot of you are talking big shit. And I don't mean about this conference, I went back and looked at all your tweets. Did you know there were 37 billionaires sitting with us today? I'm fascinated by that. I'm fascinated because we're sitting in a world right now where entrepreneurship is on a pedestal of cool. So everybody's flocked to it. And everybody's talking about how they're gonna crush it and what they're gonna do and who they're gonna be. And then you look at their content and every Friday night, they're at a fucking concert. And every Sunday morning, they're this. And every Tuesday afternoon, they're that. And they watch a shitload of fucking Netflix and they're incredible at fucking Candy Crush and fucking. And so I go on this rant, not to do anything or to razz or to fucking call anybody out. I'm just asking a very simple question. I promise you, if you wanna be pumped professionally and personally, there's one thing that will drive you to the biggest success. It's called self-awareness. Do you know who you are? Do you know what you're about? Are you actually talking about shit that you care about? Are you talking because 3 or 4 people that you love talk that game and you just feel like you've got to fit in or appease your mom or dad or uncle or aunt or grandmother's ambition? The thing that helped me so much was just self-awareness. In 4th grade, I punted school because I knew I sucked at it. I knew that I could make $3,000 a weekend as a 10-year-old selling baseball cards, but I couldn't spell 90% of the words that were being thrown at me. It was just who I was, it was how I was wired. And I implore everybody in this conference to really think about this incredibly interesting thing, which is when you're self-aware and you can get to that place of understanding yourself, I implore you to triple down on your strengths and punt your weaknesses. This country is really good at selling down our throats what we're not good at. We're always being sold what to fix. I truly believe that most of the people in this room will succeed by not addressing those things. Now, something could be fatal, right? Like something could really hurt you. But I think you need to just lift those, get them to a certain place so they're not a vulnerability, and triple down on your charisma, and triple down on your salesmanship, and triple down on your work ethic. Whatever those 3 to 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pillars are, it's fascinating when you study who's winning and who's not. It's the people that have the confidence to suck at shit that are winning. I can't read, right? Like, I'm terrible at it. Like, reading a 2nd grade book to my daughter's like, you sure you want to read me? You should go look a bird. Yet, standing in front of 800,000 people, I'm like, cool, I'm good. Like, we need to start thinking more and more, and as you're going through your careers right now, I implore you to be confident in what you're good at and to punt what you suck at, because I promise you, everybody else sucks at shit too. Everybody's got strengths and weaknesses, and I'm fascinated by people's obsession to pour all their efforts into fixing their weaknesses, which is playing defense, and not tripling down on strengths. So if I leave you with anything structurally from a strategy standpoint and mindset standpoint, I highly implore you on that. And that's it. Like those are the things that are really kind of happening to me. I'm fascinated that we're in this era. I want people to take bigger advantages of it, right? I need people to understand how ridiculously unbelievable it is and to figure out, do they really want stuff? Do they love how many people love working because they just love the game of trying to win at a career or building a business? Raise your hands. Those people are gonna have a disproportionate advantage because it doesn't feel like work. It's just their zone. For the rest of you, you need to figure out what you like about it and spend all your time on that, because if you're in a place where you don't like it, you're not gonna put in the amount of work that's needed to actually achieve the things that most of you want.